Yes, sir. Yes, sir, you can start, sir.
Okay. So yeah, so this is the code that we wrote, and now what we need to do is, so here the initial step that we need to do is you need to consider this data. So we imported everything, and we need to import this info from here. So I'll give you one link. So we are going to import the information, and the data is basically called a data set. Okay. So what is a data set? Data set is something uh, using which we will be developing. So it is like a textbook. So as I told you, we are going to distribute the same textbook to multiple teachers or trainers. So I'll show you what the textbook is, what they need to train the bot. Okay. So the data that we are going to import here is a CSV format, because as I told you, we'll be working on different types of data. So now I'm going to work on partially structured information, not completely, partially. So I'm giving you one link. I'll open it here as well. So this is a CSV file which will consist of a lot of data about various different flowers that I told you. Three kinds of flowers: Iris setosa, Iris versi. I'll tell you what these numbers are. Okay, we'll learn that later. And likewise, I have Iris virginica. So what we need to do is we need to take this as a data set. Data set is nothing but it is a pool of information or a group of information using which you will be teaching your artificial intelligence project on what to do. Okay, how, let us say if you are building a chatbot, which kind of data set you give is you will give conversations of all the chats. uh, Let us say, I'll give you an example. Let us say you put an order on Amazon. Okay, you want to chat with their customer care representative. Okay, sometimes we get automatic replies based on what we type. Even in Google Assistant you get the same. So Google Assistant must be aware of, let us say if I say hi, it needs to respond hello or hi or good morning or good afternoon based on the time and all that. So it needs information on how normally people text each other. Okay. So similarly, in our case, we will be taking the information of the flowers Okay, so this is the complete information of the flower. Okay. Check your chat link. I'm sending you one. Just a second. I sent you one link. Open that link and also copy paste that link. Copy that link and put it somewhere. We will be using that link. Okay, so this is that link, and it is a, see, there is a difference here. It is a CSV file. Normally you make CSV files. You can even make a CSV file using your Excel, right? So I can use an Excel, or currently I'm using one Excel file which is hosted on internet. It is somewhere. If you see on which website it is hosted, gitubusercontent.com. That is the website link. Read that link first. So from there, I need to retrieve the data, or get the data. Okay. So I'm going to retrieve that information. So now what I'm going to do is copy that URL. You open that URL on your browser. That's okay. So I'm going to write URL is equal to, in quotations, just copy paste that link. And that link should be in the quotations, in double quotations. Okay, like this. All right. If you observe the data that is here, open this link. Okay, first write the code. Write that line, declare the URL. It is just a string value. So what we are going to do now is comma separated values, CSV. It is not completely structured information. It is partially structured. Okay. So our goal here is to perform data pre-processing. That is the step that we are going to do. Data pre-processing. So we are going to take the same diagram here, though it is looking ugly now. So let me clear this out. Let us go step by step, slowly. So first, I took the data. I'm using the same block diagram. Nothing changes. I'm taking data. It is in CSV format. Now I need to perform pre-processing. For this pre-processing, we will see what all steps we need to do. So this is step 1. This is step 2. Step 2 we are doing now. So if you look at the data here, what are these numbers? That is this question. So what are these numbers? I have 4 numbers, right? Decimal numbers: 5.1, 3.5, 1.4, 0.2. If you look at the iris data set, okay. Okay, this is the iris data set. Normally, this iris data set, you differentiate two different flowers. See, there are three different kinds of flowers here, right? Number one, number two, and number three. Correct? If you observe, what is the difference between all these flowers? One of the difference is the length of the sepal and the petals. Sepal length, petal length, sepal width, petal width. These four. Okay, you would have learned this in your biology somewhere in your plus two or plus one or even before. So we need to label this data. So this step is called labeling the info that we have. Labeling is very important. Labeling, I'll just give you an example. Labeling in the sense which all parameters based on which you can differentiate two things. Okay, if you want to differentiate between apple and an orange, what you do, you take the parameters like color, this is red, that is orange, size, this is size, or you can take the texture, the skin of it. Apple is smooth, orange is kind of you know bumpy. Likewise, you take parameters which differentiate two different things. So I'm taking the parameters here as names. So basically, I'm creating a list. This is how you declare or slash initialize a list. Okay. In this list, I will be having sepal length, one element, comma. I'm just writing a array. That's it, an array of strings. Sepal width, petal length, and petal width. Okay. Make this list. I want everyone to get used to the syntax. Learning syntax is very important. Okay. I'll tell you the reason why we made a list when we learn about the syntaxes. Okay. Any doubts here? All right. And next, what I'm going to do is I now have the data and I now have the labels. In line number 39, I have data where I need to pull the information from. And in line number 40, I have labels. So I will make one new variable called dataset, and I'm going to use pandas function, this one, line number 21, which is read CSV. You can use this function only if that is imported, else you can't use. I'll show you the example. See, let's say I'm deleting it. If at all I'm not importing it, if I try to run the program, then you would see something like this. Dataset read CSV. You will find this as an error. Okay. or actually you cannot, you cannot basically write this also. So that is a problem. So you need to make sure that read CSV's module is basically imported. Then I can use the read CSV function. So here I'm going to write. So this is a function which will take two values. Number one is URL, and the other one is names. So let's do one thing. I will name it as label. I'm changing the variable name, see, just to make it understandable. I'm using label names. Okay. Names is equal to. I'll tell you what does this mean exactly. Label names. So what will happen here is this function read underscore CSV. What does it do exactly? Is it will convert a CSV format file into a data frame. Now, what is data frame? So I'll show you how a data frame looks like. Okay. So now run this program. After writing it, run this. I'm writing the description here. So read CSV converts CSV information into a data frame. So to see how this data set is, you can actually print the data set and run it. See now, the information should print like this and everyone should be getting this output. Just look at the output. I'll show you the code. So if you see some table of information, an organized table of information where the first column is sepal length, sepal width, petal length, and petal width. Okay. Actually, we forgot to add one more name here. To this list, as a last element, add something called class. Class name, in the sense, to which species, to which iris species does it belong to? So in our CSV file, the last name is given to C. So there are 5 columns, na? There are, but we gave only 4 names. I added one name called class. I just gave a name to the column. That's it. Okay. Any errors, anyone? Just ping me on chat, or you can ask if you have any doubt. Okay. So, so what happened here is, let me compare the data. Okay, duplicate names are not allowed. Sir, can you share your screen? Uh, are you able to share your screen? Share your screen. I'll look at the error. Okay. Okay, just a second. Yeah, yeah, share it, share it. I'm looking at it. Okay, it is showing now. Duplicate names are not allowed. Okay, let me do one thing. Go to the code link that I shared with you before. Just a minute. I think I closed that link. I'm sharing one link with the complete code. Don't just copy paste the code and run it, okay? check the error, compare the code, look where you did the error. If at all you're getting the error, go to that line, look at what I did and what you wrote. Okay, I'm sending you one link. Check now. Okay. Yes, sir. It is working. Thanks for sharing. All right. So now this is the data set. Don't get confused. Actually, you can call it as a data set or you can just call it as data also. This is just a variable. There is a reason why I'm changing it. Actually, you can put it like iris data also. The reason why I'm changing this variable name is because you may get confused. So if I run it, I'm seeing, if you see this format, this format is called a data frame. If you remember, I told you something. You need to convert the data in such a way that Python must be able to understand it with its data types. Yes or no? We just discussed. So data frame is one such data type in Python which it can understand. Okay, what is there in the information? And one more thing is, this is what you call as organizing the information. Is it looking like a matrix to you? It's like a matrix in mathematics, right? In a matrix, in a 2 by 2 matrix, let's say, what is the element in the position 2 comma 2? It would be the fourth element, the last element, right? If I ask you what is the address of 3.1, you will say that it is the sepal width of the fourth flower. And that flower's name is Iris setosa. This is called organizing information. Organizing information is nothing but telling where the information is, what that information is. It is just like your attendance roll of your class, right? So you need to understand that you must be able to organize the information in such a way that you must be able to point out to the information. So it must be easy for you. So what is this 1.7? If at all I ask you, what is the sepal width of the eighth flower? Then you just go here and say, okay, this is that value. Now the question is, how do you retrieve this information? Okay, now this is organized. Okay, now the question is, how do we retrieve this information? And I'll also show you few data manipulation techniques. So this is called data manipulation or data visualization. So now we are doing data visualization for this program. So coming to the data visualization part, we are going to use functions from pandas. We already used one function from pandas. So let us see more functions around the same. Now the question is how to identify the size of the data or the data frame that you have. To do that, you can just write print dataset dot shape. Dataset dot shape is a pandas function which will give you the size of the data frame. So let us see. See, you already got the size here, but it will display in a comma separated format like this. After executing it, after writing it and executing it, you must see something like 150 comma 4. Means what? There are 150 rows and 4 columns in this data frame. Means what? You have samples of 150 different iris flowers for this, I mean, as a data set. Okay.
Sir, this is Lawrence.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Sir, already the data set is renamed for Iris data
Mm-hmm.
or in your program, but your variable is old variable is present in your program, then only will be run. That is
Uh,
yellow color in your data set to identify the error. Yeah, that only.
this one. Okay. The reason why you are still seeing the output is because it is carrying the cache data.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Though I deleted that information, it is still holding that information in dataset. In those cases, what you can do is right click on IPython, just right click on the console, and there is one option here. See, remove all variables.
Variables. Okay,
Then it will remove the cache information here. Means all your old variables will be deleted.
okay.
Okay. Then you can change this to iris data.shape. If you run it, it must be able to print it. See the same
Okay,
output.
okay, okay.
And if you observe something, previously it was showing only 4 columns. Now see, 5 columns is correct, not 4 columns. Because it was showing 4 columns because in the previous data set, I forgot to add class. Remember when we were writing line number 40, I didn't add this. So the value that you were seeing data set, it is carrying that old information. So that is why you should always save the code. There is no autosave option in Python in Spider, but every time just make sure you save the code. And if you are getting any problem with the variables, you can do one thing: you can remove all the variables. Just click on yes, and you can also clear the console. It will clear off the complete IPython console, and it will make it ready again. So now see, it is a refreshed information. So likewise, there are few more functions. If at all you want to look at some limited information in that particular data set, you can write print iris data dot head of 30. If you write 30, then it will just display the first 30 values in this data set, and it starts from 0 to, and it ends at the index 29. Okay. Please execute that. Now I'll give a small exercise for you. What you need to do is create 50 values. Okay, it is a 5-minute exercise. What I want you to do is try out. If you don't get the output, that is also fine. See, listen carefully. I'm importing the information from a URL, right? Means obviously this CSV file is in some database of that particular website. Okay, and I'm retrieving that information. What you need to do is you create a Excel sheet. Okay, create an Excel sheet with five rows and 5 columns. Okay, take information of cars or any similar information. It's your wish. Okay, take 2 types of cars, or take marks of people. Okay, take students marks in each and every subject, right? Give for A grade which marks will be there, for B grade which marks will be there, for C grade, like that. Take any information. I just want uh, five rows and 5 columns. Make it in an Excel sheet. Okay, and import that information from that Excel sheet and create the data frame and look at and perform everything like get dot shape dot head also. All right, take that information. What you need to find out is which function do you need to use to import a CSV file from your local system in the sense from your computer itself, instead of using a URL like this. Okay, just try it out. I'll explain you anyway. Just try it out and see what's happening. These data processing techniques are very important. That's why you have 5 minutes. Just execute the program. So in the CSV file, you can actually make a simple Excel sheet. I'll give you the tips. Just make an Excel sheet. Keep the format as XLS format or CSV format. Anything is fine. Take that information. Find out. You can Google anywhere. Find out how to import a CSV file from your desktop or from any computer system to your Python program. Get that function, okay, and read the information. Convert it into data frame. You need to do that by using pandas. Pandas is already imported, so you don't need to import it, of course. So you just need to find out which function you can use. Okay, if anyone did that, you can share your code on the chat. Okay, dataset is working. All right, nice. So let me show you. So listen carefully. What I'm going to do here is I will create one. I'll show you. This is pretty important because in a lot of machine learning applications, you will be working on something like this. For those who are not able to do, I'm showing you how to do it here. I'm going to take an Excel info. Your Excel sheet is like a data frame itself, right? So I'm giving some random values. Okay. To save on some time, I'm giving the labels. Those are called labels actually, and I'm giving some values. Just save this file. Whenever you're saving it, and data dot, just save it as data.csv or give it any name, name.csv or anything, and save it on the desktop. So my file is available. Okay. You just need to make sure that the program that you are writing, this program, you would have saved it somewhere, no? Let me save it on desktop only. These two should be in the same folder. Okay, then it would be easy for you to pick up that value. Okay. So we just need to make sure the data is available here. So I'll be giving you this. There is one function in pandas. Actually, I'm going to send you one pandas data frame library kit where you can find where you can see the information and everything. Send you one link. Check that once. It is the pandas data frame. Sorry, pandas documentation where you can find various different data frame related functions, how to use them, what are the syntaxes and all. Use it for reference. Very useful for you. Those who are interested to learn pandas a lot, you can go through. That is official information. Okay, it is not from any other sources. Okay, let me show you that file. So see, this is how you need to look at the documentation. As I told you, documentation is pretty important. So to CSV file means you can see previously we converted a CSV into data frame. In the similar manner, you can convert a data frame into a CSV. You can do both. Okay. So that is one. See, you can see this is how you can write a data frame in reverse and import that, convert that into a CSV file. So it will save it as a CSV file. It is a reverse of what we are doing currently. Likewise, to an Excel sheet, which will go into a XLS format. The format is kind of little different. Okay. So likewise, you have this documentation. What I would ask you to do is today after this session, if you have time, go through each and every function. Just try out whichever function you like. Write the syntaxes. There are examples available here on the right side, so you can take those examples. Okay. So you try it out. Tomorrow, you just try to import the CSV file. Those who already did, you can share the code on the chat so that others can find it useful. Okay. You learn it on your own. If you have any doubts, you can ask me how to do the import and all. So let me continue with this code itself. So currently, I'm able to look at the information. I'm going to now, there is a very simple function which can give you a lot of insights about the data. One of the very important function, that is data, sorry, it is iris data dot describe. Perform this function and look at the information you're getting. Okay, got the output. You will get a table of information, a huge table of information. So in a single shot, you will get this analysis of the data. Okay, so this is, see, if you see, there are a few parameters here, like count for each and every column in the data frame. Okay, and moreover, this describe function can be applied only on data frame but not in on any other data type. Just okay, so these are the kind of insights that we get from the information. So with this describe function, the reason why we will look at this information and this is significant is because the mean value, what is mean by definition? It is the average value of that particular segment, right? So this sepal length of the average sepal length that we got here is 5.84, and we can actually categorize this by various different types. So now, how to categorize the information? How exactly you will group the information? Let us say you have some huge information of 1 million rows. Okay. In that case, what happens is, if you want to segregate information based on the class name, so you can use one function, which is So I can just write like data set. This is how you group the information. Group by. So in the group by function, what you need to give in the quotations is that you need to group it based on the column name. Okay, on which column name you want to group it. Okay, group by the class and print the size of each and every class. Are you getting the output after this? Just check is it working or not, because I think there is some issue with this code. Yeah, this one. I got used to use this variable name always. So this is how the grouping is done. If you see on the right side, you can see how the grouping is happening. Okay. Okay, let's break for 5 minutes and get back. We will look at the algorithms and we'll import all the algorithms that we are going to implement. Sorry, I forgot to give a break in the morning. So just take a break for 5 minutes and come back. Okay, come back at 3:20. Be on the call. You can just mute yourself. Vimali ma'am, can you share your screen? I think you're facing some issue. If you're available, you can share your screen. Okay, you're grouping by the class. Okay. Okay, what is it saying? Key error means so your error is saying that there is nothing like class in it. Scroll up, scroll up a little bit. Okay, yeah. See, in line number 47, you're missing classes. You're missing class. In the last element, yeah, last element, place a comma and add a string called class. Yeah, it will work. Now check. Yeah, I think it is working. See, it is grouping the elements based on the size. Okay. Yeah, if anyone facing any issue, feel free to share your screen, or you can ping it on the chat. We can have a look at it. Okay. So now we will look at something called, this is the most important part. Listen carefully. So for any machine learning classifier, even this happens in deep learning also, where look at this concept. You have training information, right? You have the data, and the data you use it for training. So what we did till now is we have the data in the CSV format. I took this data, pre-process the information, and now if you see, your data set is in the form of a data frame, right? Now what is the next step is you need to take this data frame, and there is one step that you need to do. I'll tell you what it is, and then you need to give your data to algorithm. This is the procedure. Okay, so whenever you're giving data to algorithm, you need to split this information into two parts. Very important. So this data frame is by default called as training data. Okay, so normally whenever you study in your schools or colleges, what you do, you will be having a final year examination, and to test whether you're learning or not, you'll be having normal examinations also, right? Unit tests, monthly tests, weekly tests, and all, just to verify how you are performing at a lower level, right? Step by step. So you can actually imagine something similar to that. So normally what happens when you once you feed this to algorithm, the next step is to build the model, and then you do a you test this model by giving a prediction. Okay, you say that I have a new iris flower. This model will tell you whether it is setosa or virginica or versicolor. Out of these three, any one will be coming as output, correct? So this is final testing, or you can also call it as prediction. Basically we don't call it as testing, this is called prediction. But before that, you need to divide this information into train information and validation information. So you need to split this information into two parts. I think my screen share wasn't working previously, sorry. Let me explain again. So what I was saying is, you take the data, we took the data, we pre-processed, we got the data frame. After getting the data frame, you need to divide your data frame into two parts: training and validation. Okay, so what will happen here is, internally in your algorithm, okay, the algorithm will train itself. Okay, it will learn what all data patterns are there inside it, what is the mean value, what is the average sepal length of setosa. So I'll tell you in a layman terms which kind of calculations will happen inside an algorithm. So let us say the average sepal length of versicolor is 4. If you take a new flower, if that sepal length is 3.9, means it is close to setosa, or whichever mean value it is closer to, correct? So let us say sepal length of versicolor, setosa and virginica, and this is 3, this is 4, and this is 5. And in the final one, if at all you want to test a flower with 3.9 as sepal length, it is much closer to setosa, correct? Then you will say that okay, there is high probability that this could be setosa in terms of sepal length. In terms of sepal width, it could be different. It could be close to versicolor or virginica, right? So likewise, your algorithms will look at the, it will take the information, calculate these mean values, and then they will actually test themselves inside the algorithm itself. Okay, so, and one more thing you need to remember here is, the data frame, you have 150 values, right? 150. In this context we have 150. Ideally, as per recommendations, you need to split this information into two parts. One should be 80%, the other should be 20%. That is recommended split. Okay, 80 and 20. All right, so how to implement this now? How exactly do I split it? let us implement this programmatically. So first of all, I'm going to take the data frame. Okay, I'm going to divide the data frame. Look at the data frame here. Actually, you should learn how to do array manipulations. We are going to use numpy now. Okay, so this step is splitting the training information. So how I'm going to split is array. I'm making, okay, let me do one thing. I will make an array uh, values is equal to iris data values of flowers. See the data set, right? This one. I'm dividing this into two parts. First of all the values in one variable, on all the labels in one variable. Okay. So it is iris data dot values. Okay. And then now see what happens. You guys do one thing. After this line, just print values of flowers and see the outcome. Tell me, I'm expecting one answer from you. Tell me what exactly is the output that you got? What is the data type of the output that you got? Just print value of flowers. It will print something. Okay. What is the data type you're getting? No, no. I want what is the data type? I want you guys to tell me the data. Very simple, very basic. What is that called? What is that output called? Yeah, yeah, it is an array. Be more specific. It is an array only. Be more specific. Okay, let me show the output. See, this is the output. Okay. Let me do one thing. I'm removing all the print statements. I'm commenting everything. You know how to group comment? Three quotations start, three quotations end. It will become a group comment. Run it again. Oh, okay. URL error. Acha. What it's saying? URL open error. Group by class, group by iris data. Okay, just a second. Let me clear the console and check. Isn't it a multi-dimensional array? That is the output you get. Not just an array. It is a multi-dimensional array. Why the URL is not working? Okay. Which I think it is not able to open this URL. Okay, that's fine. It could be some temporary error from my side. Probably the site is not reachable or something, because we are accessing it from some other database now. Probably there could be some issue with it. Okay. So you will see, yeah. So this is the data. It just takes a, it just makes a multi-dimensional array, or you can say array of arrays. An array of arrays is nothing but a multi-dimensional array, isn't it? So I just pulled out values, and if you remember one thing, the outcome of the data processing, or the pre-processing, is nothing but getting the information into the data type. And array is a data type, isn't it? Array is a data type of Python, so it can understand it, right? So now I converted my complete information that I have, or the data that I have, unstructured data that I have, into a structured and understandable format to Python. Okay, that is nothing but iris data dot values. In the next step, you can remove that print statement. I just used it just to show you. And I'm going to use NumPy. Now what I want to do is, from this array, I want to, this multidimensional array is there now. I want to divide this into two parts. One is all the values, I'll keep it in one. And this class is called labels now. These are all labels: iris setosa, versicolor, and iris virginica. These are labels. These are the three possible outcomes that we have. Correct? So what I'm going to do here is, I will just take a value called x in order to retrieve. Actually, this implementation is from NumPy. I will write values of flowers, colon, comma. Colon means basically, you would have learned this in your NumPy. There is something called interval. Based on interval, you can retrieve the values. So what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to retrieve the values from 0 to 4th column inside this multi-dimensional array. Okay. So, and I'll keep it in. So the first 4 columns are what? These first 4 columns are values, the actual values. And I'll take small y. This is just an assumption. Okay. Don't get confused. Just using 2 variables. That's it. And I want the 4th column separately. Sorry, the last column separately. This kind of representation you will learn. If you want to understand this more, you basically need to have idea on NumPy. As I cannot dig deeper into NumPy and how it works and all, so these array operations are done using NumPy. So if you want to check more, you can actually check with by learning NumPy itself. Okay. So 0 to 4, and then I divided this information. Now you do one thing: print x and print y. The first one is capital X. The next one is small y. I'll share the code with you. I'm sending a new link with the new code. Have a look at it. I'm sharing one link with you. Those who are facing errors, just get the code and compare the code with your errors. Finally, I didn't add the last lines. Add print x and print y. X is capital, y is small. Okay. So let me know if you are getting the output or not. So ideally, what you should get is you will get two different arrays now. One is a multi-dimensional array with values. Second one is a simple array with strings. This is the reason why you need to understand arrays a lot. Arrays, dictionaries, data frames, and what is it? Tuple. These four are very important in Python to understand machine learning. See, everything boils down to the basics of programming. That's why that is the first thing that I mentioned when I started this lecture. Right. So if you are not sure about how to do array operations, this whole project will not. You won't be able to achieve it. That's why you need to be aware of the basics of the programming. So print x and then print y. So now I will show the kind of information it is displaying. This should be your output. See, an array with multiple uh, labels and another array with only values. That's it. Okay. So what you just did is you divided the value information and the possible outcomes. I'll give you a small exercise. This is a very silly exercise. Can you, using array functions, okay? You have this array, na? You have nearly how many values in this? 150 values, and there are repetitions. This is not related to the program, but can you convert these repetitions into, so how you need to convert is, let us say I have 5 different values which got repeated. So I just want the array with all the values which got repeated. Means, can you compress this array to an array with 3 elements? Can you do that with a small looping? You can do that, right? So let us say there are versicolor, virginica, and setosa. Once after this array conversion, what I need to get is only those 3 values. Let us say there is rows also, and it got repeated for 10 times. Whichever got repeated, I want to compress that down to only one value. I want virginica to be compressed to one value, uh, versicolor to one value, setosa to one value. Okay. In that sense, then what is the outcome? That outcome is nothing but number of possible outcomes this machine learning system can have. Right. So the ultimate goal of this is what? Once I develop the algorithm, if I show any flower, it should give me output of any of these three. Means the probability of each outcome is 33.3%, 100 by 3, right? So that array must be comprising of all the possible outcomes. Okay, just try doing it. It is just a array manipulation exercise. It will be a good practice for you. Okay, do that exercise. Compress that to only number of repeated values. Okay, so I'll give you a tip how to implement that. Either you can use loops, you can use a simple for loop to find the number of repetitions. Okay, and you can just add it. Shall I show you that logic, or do you want to can do it? Let me know if you want to see that. If you want me to explain that logic, I will explain. So these are the two values x and y that I got. I am removing the print statement. That is not needed for now. So the next thing here is, okay, we will implement this splitting operation. So how do you split information is, see, I imported one functionality here. See, train test split, line number 23. So this is the module that I'm going to use, and the function is very straightforward: train, test, and split. So I'm going to write that function, train underscore. Guys, this is an inbuilt function. Okay, this is not something that I'm writing on my own. This is an inbuilt function, not a custom function. And to this function, I'm giving x, capital X, small y. Actually, you can use small capital Y also, not a problem. And what I told you, you need to split this information into 20% and 80%, right? So validation is also called as test. So the size of that test should be 0.2. 0.2 means multiplied with 100, 20%. That's what it means. You don't need to give train separately. If you give, obviously 0.20%, 100 minus 20% is 80%. So inside it will understand. Or you can also give train size is, or you can also actually give like this. Train size is 0.8. Either way will work. Okay. So it is preferred to give test size itself. And there is something called random random state that is equal to 1. So what is this random state is, it is just a kind of shuffling. See, if you are splitting the information and training the model, okay, so normally it is like a lucky draw. How do you take lucky draw? uh, let us say you wrote a list of 10 similar people. Likewise, you wrote five different similar people lists, and you want to pick one. You basically mix everything so that it will increase the chance of diversity, right? So your data set always should be very diverse. More diverse your data set is, it means more accuracy and more use cases you would address. So what does this mean? What is this diversity? uh, let us say let us take the example of apples and oranges. Okay, I took all the red apples. Okay, they are apples, so I took all the apples which are red. There are slightly yellow also. I took all the oranges which are orange in color and all that. So I took all the samples and I did some image classification or image recognition. So I just made an application which will identify an apple or an orange. So if I in front of the camera, if I show an apple, it will say it is an apple. If not, orange. There is something called green apple also, right? Some apples are more yellowish in color. I forgot to add them, and suddenly someone brought a green apple which is actually green in color, and I forgot to add that in my data set. Means what? My application don't know that there is something called green apple which exists. Means I missed on it. There is no diversity. Similarly, random state will actually shuffle the information, because my information now is in a sequence, right? If I divide this 150 into 80% and 20%, if I take first 80%, what is the last part of information? Virginica information, right? Only Virginica information won't go into the training information, right? Because this is the last 20%. Most of the Virginica values will be not trained. So my machine learning model won't know about Virginica at all. So it needs to understand how Virginica looks like. It needs to have the values of Virginica as well. So if I shuffle everything together, then what will happen? The data will be a combination of Setosa, versicolor, and Virginica. So then you need to split. So the random state does that, equal to 1, and the values that you need to assign, once that splitting is done, this will split the information into two parts. One is x train, comma x validation. These are values that I am assuming. Okay, this is not inbuilt. Only this train test split, that word is inbuilt, rest all is normal. Okay, and y underscore train, comma y underscore validation. So what will happen is, all your training information will be in x and y. You may ask me why? Why? Because y is having the labels. So your training information. So let me show you how we divide it. So you have values and labels, right? You have 80 values, 80 labels in X train and Y train. Y train are these labels, X train are these values. Similarly, 20% are values. This is X validation, and this one is, this 20% is Y validation. Okay, so that is how you will split the information, and you can actually print this data also. Let's run this code once for all and check if there are any errors. I'm sending you this code. Wait. I'm sending you the final code. Please, everyone. Okay. Vimali, you were asking how to divide that information, is it? How to cut down that big array into 3 pieces? Is it what you responded for? Okay. Let me show you. It's very simple. You can use it for a loop. So, which is that? See, guys. Everyone, see here. I'm actually trying to. Okay, let me execute this. You got this info, right? Print Y. If at all I print Y, I'm getting this array, means in Y, these are all the values. So I'm going to compress this whole thing into a simple array. So what I'm doing is I'm writing a for loop here. For each and every value, so for each and every value in Y, okay, so what I need to do is I will make one new array here. See, compressed array. I'm defining that here. Okay, I'm initializing the value here. Sorry, I'm declaring the value here. Compressed array dot append of x means what happens. Sorry, of value. What happens? I'm just see if I this is pretty silly. If I write compressed array, basically both will be the same, na? I did the same. I just took it and appended. That's it. But when I need to append, I need to append only when that value is not present. See, in the first iteration, what happens? It will add iris setosa. Okay. The first iteration, it will add iris setosa. Next iteration also, it will try to add iris setosa. Third iteration, iris setosa. So I need to block it from here. If iris setosa is already existing, then I no need to. Then basically I no need to add it, right? So that's how I avoid the repetition. So this is one conventional way to do it. So if value in compressed array I will do nothing else. So basically you don't need to do anything here. It's an empty if condition. There is one direct function I'll give you. . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . So what you need to do is, if value inside this compressed array, then just not adding. I'm just printing just for your explanation purpose. Else, I don't do anything. I'll write key compressed array dot append value. Now see, it didn't add these many values. Ultimately, it printed just iris setosa, iris versicolor, and iris vaginica. That's it. Understood? So I'm looping inside it, and I'm just writing a simple if condition. Okay. So I can just write continue. I think we should write break, right? The loop should break at that point. Oh, wait. Yeah, you can basically reverse this function also. Can you reverse this function? So this is another task for you. I added like this, right? So what I want to do is do the negation of this if condition. Do the reverse of this if condition. Check how it will work. Try to do that. Okay. I'm sharing this code as well. Actually, this is not needed, just for extra, that is not related to our functionality. Check the code link once again. I updated it with the new code. So get that complete code. Okay. So that is it for today. So tomorrow we'll just import this algorithms and try to evaluate them. Try to practice the code that is explained today. Okay, the code is completely with you. All right. So we'll meet tomorrow at the same time at just like today. So the link have don't no code. Oh, guys, don't delete the code. Okay, just copy paste it. I think someone deleted it. Just copy paste the code. I'm pasting it again. I'm giving the code again. Just copy it. I think someone did a cut and paste. Okay. Don't delete the code, and the code will be available for 24 hours. So you can use the same link to refer to it if no one deletes it. So yeah. All right. So that is it for today, and get the code, and I will see you guys tomorrow at the same time. All right. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you guys are following and also writing the code. Those who are not having the laptops, at least try to get it by today evening and make it ready for tomorrow morning. Uh, Also, make sure you install Anaconda. I know it is taking time to install Anaconda. Just try to install it completely. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for your support, and have a good evening. And I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Sir, thank you, sir. Very
Thank you
much,
so
sir.
much, ma'am. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you,
ma'am.
sir.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
tomorrow at what time will start, sir?
11,
11
11,
o'clock.
11 o'clock. Yeah. Yeah.
Students have to join at 10:45. Students should join the link at 10:45. We'll start sharply at 11 o'clock. Thank you, students.
Okay,
Sir,
ma'am.
thank you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Okay.